Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses, presented by our good friends at Saratoga Springwater. Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling, on our first of 8 Saturdays here at Saratoga. An exciting one as well, with a tremendous pick six carryover of over $500,000. And yesterday was one of those sequences, and we talked about it beforehand.
Right away, we talked about it yesterday, yep.
Where I don't think there was a ridiculous winner in the sequence by any stretch of the imagination. The day before, you had a 43-1 shot. Tough to have, but getting all of those horses on the same ticket, not an easy endeavor.
No, it wasn't. It was a tough ticket yesterday. We talked about it before we started talking about the sequence, and if you managed to get through those first 2 legs, congratulations, but it was a tough row to hoe. Nobody was able to do it. 532 plus waiting for you this afternoon.
And today, obviously, if it loses, it changes the ball game, but there is a potential single in reinvestment risk, a horse who at least you have a horse that's a somewhat reliable heavy favorite. There was that preposterously overbet horse in the 7th race yesterday, even money shot from Brad Cox.
Yeah.
It blew the break, a horse that never should have been even money, whereas reinvestment risk should be odds on. Now, that's no guarantee the horse is going to win, but he is a horse I imagine a lot of people be leaning on. Obviously, more conversation about that. But we've got 11 to talk about, and you need to head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Listen to Joel Rosario, and you can see he's serious. He's telling you, use the promo code TOGA200, sign up for Naira Bets, keep the money in the game, and support racing in New York. Play through Naira Bets. As mentioned, pick six carryover, $532,907, just $93 shy of $533,000. That'll be races 6 through 11. We'll talk about that in the second half of today's show. Also, we've got some 10 times points, Monmouth and Delaware today, playing through Naira Bets. Always remember, it doesn't say opt-in, so I'm not sure if you need to. Anthony, any insight on that?
I don't know.
Always check the opt-ins regardless. What else do we have? A cross-country pick 5, I believe. Saratoga's 8th, Monmouth 11, Saratoga 9th, Ellis 9, and Saratoga 10. 2 graded stakes from Saratoga, the Diana and the 12-horse Sanford.
Got a ticket up for that over at Naira Bets.
All right, head over to Naira Bets for Anthony's ticket on that. And finally, last but not least, a lot of Saratoga Live today, 1 to 7, and then back for 8 to 11. Anthony will be talking about racing at Meadowlands and where else?
We have there's a pick 5 carryover at Canterbury as well. Ooh. We'll have a ticket for that tonight on Saratoga Live from 8 to 11. Greg Wolf and I will cover the Meadowlands along with Jessica Otten and Gabe Pruitt, who are live down at the big end.
Race number 1. Race number 1 is a cluster, as they say, in that it's very hard to say, I love this horse in here. But I will start out by saying, and Anthony and I are very much on the same page with this horse, there's a horse that's going to take a lot of money off a big fig last time, and that's this horse, North Pole. And judging by you having him 4th and my having him off the board, neither one of us is enamored with him. A couple things about it. Where did that fig come from? It's completely dichotomous to any race he's ever run. Well, it's also dichotomous for the winner to run a mid-80s figure, a horse who was 0 for 15 coming into the race or 0 for 14. The rail was also very good, so that's probably a figure that's in the 15 points too high. And even his 62 was probably dressed up by where he was in the racetrack, so not saying he's totally impossible, because it's hard to say anyone in this race is impossible. He's probably one that'll be a short price that at least the 2 idiots up here will be playing against.
Yeah. And he had plenty of opportunities prior to that effort last time out that it sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't really want much to do with him today. If he beats us, he beats us.
So, Anthony,
more often than not,
you're going to have to
in the same
explain
boat.
Fiery Heart to me, who's only 5 to 1 on the line and looked like a bigger price than that to me.
He's only had one chance to disappoint so far on the dirt. I took a shot with him. He was off the little bit of a break last time out, a little 10-week break, and he kind of attended the pace. I thought the pace was quick enough last time. They went 46 and some change, going a mile on the 16th. He got beat by another horse who had taken a while to get out of the maiden ranks, but a horse that had earned some decent figs. I don't know. That was his only dirt start. He hasn't disappointed as much. I'm assuming he'll be forward in here, and I'd give him a prize. Plus, I feel like, Andy, he'll be a little bit of a price. He's 5 to 1 on the morning line. He'll probably be right around that. In a race like you said, where I don't think you could absolutely love anyone, but we could probably all get on board with trying to beat North Pole. I thought I'd go for a little bit of a price.
Okay. I didn't make any sense to me, but he wouldn't be the first winner that made no sense to me. I think the one Never Change will be favored, and I do have him fourth. I thought about putting him on top. I don't know what to do with this horse. He faced significantly better horses getting bet in both of his races, including the very talented Morello in his debut, but I don't know. This guy gives me a look like he just isn't very reliable. So I went to the other Todd Pletcher here, the one that'll be a better price and not the one who ran just the one race at Monmouth. Todd has reasonable numbers, maiden special weight to maiden claimer. For what it's worth, second start routers, he's 9 for 19, maiden special weight to maiden claimer on the dirt. The ROI is only $1.92, so a lot of short prices, but this one won't be. Listen, I thought about putting the 6, Psychic Income, the horse that you have second as well, first time. Just didn't really feel like putting this Klarovich runner. It's with George Abreu, but I mean, it's not like the TT hasn't won with horses for Klarovich Stable, especially up in Saratoga, including Price Talk, who was disqualified in his first start, but he had a winner last year, the first-time starter. Just because they're not with Chad Brown doesn't mean they can't run.
Obviously, the problem, he's a 4-year-old. He's not debuting until halfway through his 4-year-old year. They pay $250 for him. He's already a gelding. I mean, there's a lot of, but
workout reports are pretty good on this horse, relatively speaking.
And what's it going to take to win this heat? I mean, I don't think it's going to take that much.
No, it's not. A 70 buyer would win this race, and 68 buyer will probably win it. I would use Mystical Curl and higher, but the speed held so well in his last race, and his performance was bad, but he is dropping, and he is a new face in a crew that is screeching for a new face. Race number 2. I think race number 2 is a race, and you and I took a slightly different approach, and I totally get it with Quick Money, where I don't know how short he's going to be. I don't really see them betting Jason Barkley heavily in Saratoga. And I'm rooting for Jason to do well here. I like a guy who ships in from Kentucky, takes a shot to do well, but it's never easy. It's never easy for any. I mean, Tom Amos will tell you that. He's had some success lately, but it's very tough. And Tom's one of the top trainers in the history of the game with almost 4,000 wins. But I just thought this horse was loose, and I get it. His last race is somewhat dichotomous as well to his other races, but his debut wasn't a bad effort at Ellis, and maybe he can just wire the field, or she can, because I'm just a little tired of the ones I've seen, including the 7, Chloe Rose, who I don't disagree with you is one of the ones to beat.
Puts the blinkers back on. She wore blinkers right around this time last year for a handful of starts.
And ran badly.
Well, she didn't run that. She didn't run. She kind of runs the same.
Desperation move, though, right?
I don't know.
You don't think it's desperation?
Gus took the blinkers off of her. Gus Rodriguez took the blinkers off of her immediately. Now they go back on. I don't know.
If it's not desperation, what is it?
I'm sure it's frustration, desperation.
Okay, it's okay.
Whatever ratio you want to use. I'm having microphone problems today. It's not staying on.
That bad microphone.
Yeah.
Ill-behaved microphone. It's the microphone's fault.
Of course. Not my, how could it be my fault? It's never my fault.
You make a great point.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with Quick Money. I just feel like somebody else, and I keep saying this, but isn't somebody else going to try and go?
Well, she's the speed. And
I
know that you think that there's pace duels.
But don't the two inside horses have to at least try and show some speed?
She's the speed. I'm not saying other horses can't be somewhat forward, but she's the clear speed. Listen, Quick Money's quick. Her last race would win this, but I don't have to trust it's going to run back. Obviously, you don't think that she's going to run back to it, and that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. The problem is I don't want any of these horses. I don't like Closing Deal. I thought that race was kind of a joke last time, and Chloe Rose, who I do pick second, and won't be shocked when she wins, but I don't know. What's her form just seems to be just sort of blah lately, and as you say, sort of a desperation, frustration move with the blinkers. Well, that's not really a great sign. T. Olive was second in a terrible race last time relative to this one.
Terrible race, yeah.
And I'm just going to hope Quick Money wires field. But believe me, I have no argument with somebody who wants to say I'm not taking a shipper to duplicate her last race at Churchill. And, we haven't seen her since May, but I just want, she's not going to be that short. That's the thing. It's not IRAD. It's not a trainer that's going to take a lot of money. And so I don't think she's going to be unnaturally short. Race number 3, we are on the turf. These are maiden New York State breds. And we'll start with Robin and Eli, who's the worst to beat that you have on top. The problem I have a little bit is this was an equine chandelier act last time. And a lot of people are going to look and say, it's Chad Brown. This horse is second in a stake. How's she going to lose a maiden race? Well, you might want to take a good look at the PPs of the horse that beat her, who was 1,000 to 1 in this race. before you get too excited that she won a stake race, because frankly, it was a maiden race dressed up as a stake race.
Yeah, she finished second this day to Big Price Dream Central,
Running Wednesday.
who's running Wednesday. I mean, yes, she could be a little bit of a trap. I don't disagree. Just think getting the Lasix and getting back out to a little bit more ground. Yeah.
3 seconds for Chad Brown, short prices. She's the horse to beat, but she's not exactly. I think she's not going to be 5-2. I just think the public, of course, she is an IRAD, so she isn't going to take that unnatural money. I think there's a horse in here that has to be taken a look at, and that's the number 8, Saratoga Chrome, who comes out of the race where Arisema ran a good race for second. What it looks like ran okay to finish third in there. But we're going to watch the early part of that race for Saratoga Chrome and see what happened to her. And obviously, she had enormous trouble. And there's an argument that she probably should have won this race. And she is a horse that had very good form as a 2-year-old. I thought had been unfairly disqualified last year. I mean, watch what happens. There's a steady and there are steadies. She was just completely and totally taken out. Where did she lose there? 5-6 lengths? Easily? She only lost by 2 lengths. A cleaner trip. I just feel like she's going to maybe be able to finally build on that 2-year-old form. Today's the day. Either she gets it done today or I've had enough. But this
that was a bad steady last time.
It's a real trip.
That was bad, and she ran well after that steady. Yeah, she's definitely a player in here. I wonder how much money she takes off of that trip. I wonder if she gets overbetting here a little bit.
Well, she's not going to be super short price when you've got Robin and Eli. I don't know, Anthony. What price do you think she should be?
I don't know.
I mean, she's not going to be 8-1.
No,
she never was going to be.
Probably be 5-1, right?
You think 5-1's a bad price on her? Look at the
Maybe
prices she's been in the last 4 starts. Now, you've got a horse second. I have third. Talk about her.
Yeah, Sarah Splendor completely had some trouble at the start and looked like she just needed her first race. Goes from 7th to the mile on the 16th. She's a half to a couple of nice horses. Lovely Lala. I just thought with some routine improvement, the Abreu barn has been heating up as of late. I would imagine this filly's going to run much better second time out. And she's a big price, too. She's 15-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it routine improvement, but I think she's a horse that, as you say, she broke a little slow and then she brushed the gate. She did take money in her first start as well for George Abreu, who had that win yesterday with a horse who was about 50 lengths the best as they were crawling around the racetrack. And I agree. I do think she's an interesting horse as a second-time starter to get it done here. We have the same 3 horses. I just saw it a little bit differently than you do. See how it plays out. And the 12, listen, 12 Sal's Dream Girl can win this race. It's not a great post for her, but she arguably comes out of the best race of anybody last time out. She had a very good trip in there. I mean, I bet her. She took a little while to get room to get outside, but also a lot of good things happened, despite the fact that there's an argument she could have won under more fortunate circumstances. Race number 4, the first of 2 horses that Anthony's making sure he keeps getting those free dinners at Nove from Louis Lazzanero. This one, though, we'll take a look at higher qualities win for 7. And higher quality rode a gold rail in this race. Beat up on a field that may not be as good as the figure suggests. I was going to pick against this horse. I really wanted to. But Chad has great numbers. He's got his first time for a tag with Routers up here. And I'm sorry. This horse he has found his friends.
Wow.
He's not their friend, but they're his friends.
The best friends he's ever going to find in his life.
I mean, if he can't win here today, and he'll probably get claimed. If he can't win her today, woe to the person who claims this horse, because it's not a terrible field, but he's supposed to beat these
He's just
horses.
supposed to beat these horses. Yeah, he's supposed to, if he breaks, and he's had some issues breaking, but if he breaks today, there's not even that much speed in the race. I would imagine Eagle and Love will be forward. Maybe BC's
You don't think it's
Glory
Gravy's
Days.
going?
And I guess it's
I
Gravy.
think a lot more speed in this race. I think that's the one potential problem for him, is that they could move a little bit in this race.
Maybe.
And that's the potential concern, because it's Gravy. I mean, if he's not going to lead, then what's he doing in the race? Now, that's not to say that higher quality can't sit second to him, but he's supposed to be going. That was my biggest concern. And to be fair, Red Revolution deserves a slightly better trip than he got last time out. And we'll take a look at the beginning of the race for Red Revolution, who this is like part 2 of the replay we showed in the last race.
Amazing, right?
He's just going to get completely and totally steadied out of this race and drops back into no man's land. Eagle and Love ran fine in here, and I don't think he's impossible. I mean, he's probably the most logical horse if the favorite doesn't show up. I just think higher quality is a higher quality horse. But
Yeah.
Revolution did have a trip, and he was the one I considered putting on top. And I actually was going to, and I kept thinking about it and thinking, you know what? I finally decided, Anthony, I was just picking against the 2 to pick against a short price, and I didn't want to do that.
I didn't want to do it either. I didn't want to do that. I think he's just better than these horses. Yeah, a higher quality. Red Revolution, Eagle and Love, they can round out a piece. I wanted to try Cryo for Bill Morey, coming back off a couple of dirt sprints, stretching out, but it's higher quality's race to lose.
Yes, sir, I agree. You've got the 8 second. I have the 1 second. Race number 5. As we're getting closer and closer to that pick 6. There's a middle pick 5
Yeah,
today,
it starts
right?
in race 4, mandatory payout.
Yes, mandatory payout. Anthony will pay you out regardless of what happens. Even if you lose. Come see
After
Anthony.
the first 2
He'll
days, I
straighten
can't pay you out on a show bet at this point.
He'll straighten it out. Race number 5 I thought was a pretty interesting race and a somewhat wide open race here. I'm going to start by taking a look at Shutters, who I don't know. I think Shutters is going to be favored. I could be wrong. Just like looking, I mean, they're really going to give another chance to Rally Squirrel, who's just getting chance after chance after chance. Now, maybe Shutters wasn't complimented by the fact that he ended up beating Mr. Connecticut, but maybe Mr. Connecticut was okay last year and he's just fallen apart, much like his namesake.
Yeah, I mean, Shutters makes some sense. He's fresh gelding off the layoff. The blinkers went on last time. He got the job done. Chad has him ready off the bench. There's not a lot to worry about there.
He's 5 to 1. If I thought he was 5 to 1, frankly, I probably would have picked him on top.
Right.
I'm a little skeptical, but then again, Chad Brown's career could be over. You know, he hasn't won a race the first 2 days, so it could be.
I heard that.
Could be, he might want to retire. Actually,
I heard that.
Guy is finished. Has Todd won a race?
I don't know.
He could be done too. Wow. Pretty amazing. Louis Saez starting off well. Who's leading Ryder now?
I don't know. It's 2 days in. Are you really going to ask me that question?
Well, if anyone would know, it would be
the content producer, of course, yes.
But he would know it would be you.
Yes.
Other than Louis Lazzanero,
He
wait a
doesn't
second.
know.
Wait a second.
No,
Louis sold Marinero.
I knew I was getting you
Well,
on
you got
this.
me.
This horse has been purchased by a gentleman named Stephen Crow.
Louis Lazzanero sold a horse named Marinara Sauce?
That's
Stephanie. Disgraceful.
That his wife Stephanie named.
Wow.
Great
Louis.
name, right?
Louis.
Marinara Sauce.
So he's on the couch. In other words, Louis is on the
Marinara
couch.
Sauce, yeah. Stephen Crow of Iron Horse Racing. It's similar to a name of the stable we ran last week, so there was a little to do about that. But yeah, Stephen's getting in the game double-fisted.
Does he have a restaurant?
He does not have a restaurant, no.
Okay, I'm just checking.
He had that big pace to close into first time out. And then last time out, he's running against horses, Dakota Gold.
They're better than these.
They're just better horses. He was much closer. He actually broke out at the starting gate last time.
Well, wait a
and then
second.
get smothered.
It was a much slower pace.
It was a much slower pace, but at the very least, he was able to get out of the gate. He'll be farther back today, I would imagine. And
I'll give you one.
I wanted all of the lightly raced horses in here.
Here's a stat for Chad Brown.
Okay.
Stretching on the turf at Saratoga, sprinter routes. He's 11 for 30, 11 for 30. It's not 37%, by the way, in case you're wondering.
It is.
Is it? It is 37%.
Yeah.
Right. It's over. $3.11 ROI.
There you
So
go.
pretty amazing for a guy like Chad Brown. And I hear you. I left him out because I thought Louis still owned him. I want to see him do it, stretching out. I think his race lasted a little dressed up because of the slow pace, but I do think he ran a lot better. I like Frontline Dancer. That comment in the short comment out finished is an embarrassment. He was never able to get outside and get into the clear to make a run. And he was just sort of trying to run inside of horses. And I just felt that he was somewhat stymied doing that as the running was being done outside of him. I thought he ran fine. Now, unfortunately, Irad's riding him, and he's going to get over bet.
Yeah.
But I just thought he drew better. He drew better than the other horses were logical. I don't have a big problem with anybody in here. There is one horse that should be mentioned, though, that's going to be a very, very big price and maybe worth throwing in for the suddenly hot Jeremiah Englehart. And I told you this on opening day. I said that this guy's barn's going to heat up. That damn Cable, do you remember her?
I do. That was Christoph, right?
That was Christoph.
Was that Claiborne?
Yeah.
And Dill Schneider?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This horse was a 92 buyer, was an excellent turf horse, has produced 4 horses to try the grass. 3 of them won. They were okay. I mean, this may be the surface this horse wanted all along, and it's not like the horse has no dirt for him. What if this horse improves on the turf, like the pedigree suggests that he could? I mean, he's a price horse to lead, because I'll tell you something about this race, and I don't think you'll disagree. There's no killers in here.
No, there's no killers in here.
Yeah. So I think
there's potential. I mean, potentially, I think the three horses I have of your top 2 could be okay. But yes, there's nothing going into this.
10 could be okay. No,
yeah.
I don't.
Going
disagree.
into this, no, I agree with that.
All right. That's the first 5. The last 6, including all the races for the $532,907 carryover after a quick break.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, presented by our friends at Saratoga Springwater. I toured the plant last year, by the way.
Did you really?
It's really impressive. Really cool.
You didn't call me?
You weren't here.
Oh, okay.
It was not during the meet. I went around the holidays.
Fair enough.
Anyhow, pick 6 carryover.
You just called me to beat me at mini golf.
$532,907. Races 6 through 11. I got to tell you, this one was a bit of a skull buster to start it out, and I get it. I'm going to say you copped out a little bit with Alcools, and I'm not knocking it. I get it. We'll show his last race. I don't want him today. I've never been a huge fan of this horse. I know he got it done last time. Listen, there's not a lot of speed. Musical America will go because Heman Harkey is a more aggressive rider than the guy who rode him last time. I don't think he ran it badly last time. It's tough for me to keep going to him. I don't know. It's just...
He wins. I know the horse you picked it too,
No, you're right. He's 7 for 20 with 4
Flamingo
seconds and thirds.
Hawk won an optional starter.
I don't like him.
Right? In Sky We Trust has only won 3 times. He won an allowance race at Colonial. Chris and Dave, you'll talk about. Double shots, done his best running against state breds.
No Kelly
Long-term
Breen.
thinking has...
You could be in...
What?
No Kelly Breen. Oh, you've got him
No.
second. You've got him second. You're covered.
Yeah, I got double shot.
gotta make
Double
sure.
shot was a little interesting, but long-term thinking, 13
I don't want any
seconds.
part of him. I was going to show his last race. He is one of the greatest Jacques since Jacques.
It's amazing.
I mean, you look at those 13 seconds. You watch his last race. I don't know how he found a way
And
to
you
lose
get
that
to
race.
Al Cools, and I don't want to pick Al Cools.
Yeah,
But
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Where am I supposed to go?
I'm going to play against him.
And I made these picks yesterday when it looked like there was going to be a carryover. So I started thinking pick 6-wise. This is not it's not as tough a sequence as the first 2 days. Obviously,
That's like
right?
saying it's not as big a mountain as Everest.
But, you want to try and...
By the way, we're saying it now.
Yeah,
but
we're saying it now. It's not. I mean,
No,
it's
a more manageable sequence.
Yeah, this is looking to
you
get
may
hit
not
today.
hit it, but it's manageable. No, this is an anchor. This is an A horse in a pick 6 for the idiots that don't know how to hit a pick 6 that like to say dumb things on Twitter. But this is a horse I want to play against in the race.
I do get that. Right. Do you want to take this horse at 7-5 in a win pool? No. You don't want to take this horse at 7-5 in a win pool. I
No,
don't
but to
disagree
let
with
him beat you in here when he's as logical as you say, and I don't have a knock on that. I was having this conversation with David Aragona, and he was sort of saying your side of the conversation. Like, you're talking about playing against a horse that's just a super logical horse,
Yeah,
basically.
I just couldn't. We try to beat these horses all the time. I just couldn't do it.
Right. And I think double shot's fine. I mean, I know he's a deep closer, but one thing about him, he's a deep closer who can make his run.
He makes his run, but again,
he's still a deep closer.
He's still a deep closer.
In a 7-furlong race that doesn't figure to have a ton of pace, those are the toughest sprints to close into. As far as Chris and Dave, obviously, if he runs his last race, it's probably my worst pick of the meet. And believe me, he's going to have some competition in that regard as the meet goes on. There will be some very, very bad picks given out in the show, but hopefully a couple good ones, too.
You already had a couple of good ones.
It's early. Believe me, I got plenty of time to embarrass myself. I have a friend.
I didn't waste any time.
My friend is a very well-known sports bettor. I haven't seen him in years, but I I remember running into him at the New York Film Festival once, and I said, hey, I hear you started out the football season on quite a rush. And he said, I did, and I'm expecting to be 1 for 15 this week. It's like, it's just the way it goes. It doesn't matter who you are, even if you're sharp, you are going to run into rough spots. You'll have some good ones, hopefully, but you'll have some tough ones. As far as Chris and Dave, and two days of some decent opinions, hardly makes a good handicapper. This is the best horse in the race if he runs his good races.
Agreed.
And he was so bad last time, I'm not sure what to make of it. And he drops, and I get and Jeffrey Englehart, who was winning races like he was Sonny Jim Fitzsimmons this winter, has cooled off quite a bit. But still, if he can run his race, he can be forward in a race with not much pace, and he's the best horse, and he's going to be a price. Do I love him? Are you kidding me? But I thought he was a little bit interesting in a race where I was banging my head against the wall.
Put a pick 6 ticket up. It's up at Naira Bets. We'll tweet it out later as well. It's a $96 ticket.
96. Did you single the 8 here? No, that's all right.
Tried to keep. No, I didn't. I went 4, 5, 8.
Okay. Long-term thinking. Tell you what, if he wins the first leg, I'm out. I'm like Kramer and Seinfeld. I'm out. You don't watch Seinfeld. You're such an idiot.
I don't watch
You
Seinfeld.
would love that show. And now you just won't do it because you don't want to admit it. Zoomer's running tomorrow, right? Race number 7 kicks off the late pick 5. Hopefully you'll still be alive in the pick 6. And this is the biggest single of the sequence. We'll take a look at him finishing second in the Carter. I mean, he's talking about this with his owner last night. He's got 4 seconds in grade 1 races. I mean, Jackie's Warrior, he must get up in the morning shaking that he dreamed of Jack. We can show his race in the Carter.
It's amazing.
He's run into
poor
this
horse.
Tiger 3 times, and he's run his heart out against him. And then the only time he didn't run into a mistake, he found Speaker's Corner.
So sad.
If he had been sound last year with the group around, he probably would have won a couple grade 1s.
I feel so bad for this horse. But he'll likely get his win picture
He had
taken
his dinner
today.
this morning, or breakfast this morning.
There's a late pick 5 ticket up as well as a cross.
I imagine you're singling this guy.
This is the single in all of them. Keep in mind,
he's the only place you can
the
realistically
tickets
single.
are a little different, and just keep that in mind because the pick 6 you don't want to get. You want to keep it down to somewhat of a decent cost.
You're in a tough spot
Yeah.
making a $96 ticket and a pick 6 for $1.
Right,
It's
exactly.
an unenviable position.
Yeah, it's not, so try to keep the tickets under $100. So there's a little more coverage in the late pick 5 ticket if you can't afford the pick 6 ticket or you feel more comfortable with the pick 5 ticket. He's the single.
He's not meeting a bunch of bad horses. But
He's not, but
he's a pretty good horse.
There's no Jackie's Warrior or Speaker's Corner waiting for him in the paddock today.
The one thing that concerns me here, and we'll take a look at Baby Yoda's win last year, because I love watching replays of races where I bet horses that'll be the second choice in the Whitney, and they ran second, beating a pole at 7-1. The one thing I'll say about Baby Yoda, and, this is one where I was sort of disagreeing with David Aragona about this, and I'm not a big horse for course guy, but there are horses over time that come alive in Saratoga. You don't see it as much now. You don't even see it that often because back in the day, they shipped up to Saratoga for 4 weeks.
Right.
Now we've got horses that are here for 6-8 months acclimating to Saratoga. It's a very different scenario. The way this guy came alive in Saratoga, I don't want to discount the possibility he wakes up and goes, ooh, I'm back in the spa.
I'm home.
And he runs a big race. So I thought he was the only horse I could conceive of beating.
Yeah.
Unless he beats himself.
I'm making a cold 5-2.
You can have this horse. His last race was awful.
I didn't know what to do. I thought he was given I don't want to say a bad ride. It was just an indecisive ride last time out.
He was sitting on top of a slow pace.
He was sitting on top of a slow pace. That I
He
think
got
he should have
outfinished
either
by
taken
stage left.
I think he should have either taken advantage of that pace, or he should have sat off that pace. I think it was just an indecisive ride. I think he's going to move forward off that race. The 7's probably better for him than the 6, and I'm going to try and hit a cold 5-2 here.
I always like to see Michael Shanley's horses do well. He's a good guy. I'm not a fan of this horse. I have him 4th. I hear you, though. He is second off a layoff, and it's not like he was a bad horse last year. The Grade 1 Diana, which Chad Brown is now looking for his 7th win.
He won his first Grade 1 in 2011 with Zagora, then won 5 in a row from 2016 to 2020.
First of all, I'd like to buy a drink for Charlie Appleby and Al Stahl because they ran here, much like Brendan Walsh did when he almost upset the New York.
Family way, right?
I'm really tired of the narrative that Chad Brown with all these horses to race. He's got 4 of the 6 horses in here because nobody else is running against him. This argument you hear from people knocking the person who runs their races, their horses, and not the horses that aren't entered, is one of the most ridiculous arguments I've heard in a game full of ridiculous arguments.
I don't get myself as worked up as.
I'm not worked up about it.
No, I'm not even saying you. A lot of people get worked up over the whole
running his horses
scenario.
They complain that you have horse division, you don't run them. He runs. It's a dumb narrative, and it's not him. Other people get criticized too. It just makes no sense.
That's what I'm saying. The whole scene,
notion of somebody being criticized that's running the horses. It's just so convoluted.
There were 14 nominees to the race.
Wacky game.
There were 14 nominees. Chad nominated 10 of 10. He ran 4. 2 of the other 4 nominees are here. Again, salute to Godolphin, Charlie Appleby, and the folks who
won this race last year.
Right.
Well,
he
friend Al
broke
Stahl.
the streak. He broke the Chad Brown streak last year.
My favorite Diana story, which I've told before, was the day that there was a rabbit for Stephanie's kitten, I think, in here. And Christophe won I watched the race with Chad.
Hard not to like?
Possible, not sure.
That was the score. That was the stakes record.
And I thought the rabbit had been trained by Mike Maker because he had the horse. And after the race, I turned to Chad and I said, "Oh my gosh, Maker's rabbit almost won that race." And Chad said, "It's my rabbit, you idiot." My favorite Diana memory is Wild Applause winning this race as a 3-year-old in her turf debut. A son of Glowing Tribute who also won this race, and Glowing Tribute, her daughter Coronation Cup. We had a stake for her yesterday, and her son, Sea Hero, he's right behind us out in the paddock.
Yeah, you can see him.
Anyhow,
it's literally right between me and
talk
Andy.
about Bleecker Street to start.
5 different race courses, 4 different distances, undefeated in 7 starts. Here she is, dead last in New York, one of 4 Peter Brandt. She has the red helmet, easy to see. She's on the far outside. She's dead last off the turn. You have her 3rd. I have her 2nd. And maybe we're the 2 biggest idiots in Saratoga Springs today.
No, there's competition on that dog.
She's 7 for 7. She's done nothing wrong. She closes into
she's
fast.
done a lot of things right. Let's not say she's done anything wrong.
She runs into fast paces, moderate paces, slow paces, big fields, small fields, a mile and a quarter. She just wins.
When you win races, and especially big races, and you run against the dynamics of the race, less so on grass, but even on grass, you know, some people made the excuse for Rogier, well, she had no pace to close into. Well, Bleecker Street had no pace to close into, and she closed from behind her. She's terrific. And I think the great thing about her is she started her career looking like a future claimer, running at the Meadowlands.
Monmouth and Meadowlands.
And in a lot, and you know, people will say, and it's not unfair, you know, when it's a Chad Brown or a Todd Pletcher or Brad Cox, the leading trainers, you know, they get these expensive, well-bred horses, and that's fine. This horse, I know this horse costs a lot of money. This horse looked like nothing. A horse that probably they'd save for breeding after the first 2 starts.
Yep.
And she has developed into one of the best turf horses in the country. The only reason she's not the top contender for the honor at this point is because her barn mate, Regal Glory, has been so impressive. Another horse who's been somewhat of a gigantic improvement over the last year. And I don't have any argument that she's the horse to beat. But today she's going to be a short price in a tough spot. And I'm going to show Rogier winning, and she had the run of the race in the Beaugay. She was with the racetrack that day, no doubt about it. It was a weaker field, though High Opinion's a nice horse. But having said that, she was 3-5 last time out, and she stunk. I'm not going to argue that.
She was terrible.
But she's going to be a significantly bigger price today, and maybe she's a bigger price because her last race exposed her. But to give up on her completely because she didn't run well last time. I mean, it's not like this race is in an isolation. She had an awful trip in the Breeders' Cup last year. She won the Prix de l'Opera, one of the preeminent filly and mare races run in Europe last year. So today, as a 2nd or 3rd choice, I feel like she's a potential value play, and that's why I put her on top.
She cuts back from the 1 1/4 to the 1 1/8. I would imagine that's going to help her a little bit. I know
she's run great at a 1 1/4.
I know she has, but I just feel like a little less ground might help her cause.
Why? Would she have run last time at a 1 1/8?
Because she ran well. No,
She won the Prix de l'Opera at a mile and a quarter in Europe on a heavy course.
I'm very well aware of that, Andy.
Her biggest win.
I'm very well aware of that. I felt like she was a horse that might want a little less ground.
You have technical analysis on top. We'll take a look at her winning the Gallery. Have at it.
I want the horse that I think. It was kind of hard for me to separate the 1, 3, and 4, technical analysis, Bleecker Street and Rougier. I went to the horse that I think is going to get the best setup of the 3. And that's really how I was able to break the tie.
How is she getting the best setup?
Well, I would imagine that Jose is going to leave from the inside.
Well, in Italia, it's the speed.
The truth of the matter is, I don't think she is that much slower than an Italian. But I agree. I think an Italian will go.
The intention is for an Italian to be in front?
I think an Italian will go.
By the way, she's not impossible in Italia. She ran well last time.
Not.
She actually ran very well last time.
I think
Killed that
technical
California
analysis
horse's
will.
submission.
I think technical analysis will sit. She won the Lake George from off the pace last year.
She can rate.
I don't think she has any problem rating. She is 2 for 2 over over the course. She likes it up here at Saratoga. And I just think she'll be the most forward of those. I know she'll be the most forward of those 3, provided a clean break.
That's presuming you don't think that an Italian can win, and she can win.
She can. But if you think an Italian can win, the other 2,
I don't
Bleecker Street
love
and
her, but she's
Rougier,
not.
I don't either. But if you think she can win, Bleecker Street and Rougier are further behind the 8 ball than technical analysis is.
That's fair. How worried are you? You worry about distance a lot more than I do. Even talking about where the horse didn't make sense with, at least in my opinion. Are you not worried about a mile and 1/8 a little bit with her?
I think
she's more of a mile to mile and a 16
I think you have
type?
to be a little concerned.
Yeah.
But the mile and an 1/8 race was last year at the end of the campaign. I know it was only 5
The horse
races.
who unfortunately must have been injured because she was a
well,
juggernaut.
Yeah, she was a monster, right? She ran into a real horse. I don't know. I know she's run well enough on wet courses. I think she's probably a little better on firm ground.
Well, I don't think there's any argument in that favor of that. But her last race, the best race she ever ran.
Yeah.
Her last race, I'm going to assume very much changed Chad Brown's mind about her.
Okay.
Because I was surprised when I heard she was pointing this race. And I think her last race said to him, we're going to have to give her a shot against the big dogs in a race like the Diana. And you know I want her to win. You know I'm rooting for her.
Like I said, the tiebreaker for me was I think she'll be the first one to come calling on an Italian, and I think that she'll set the best trip of the 3. And if you think an Italian can win, which we both kind of do, she is the least compromised of the 3.
Creative Flair, we'll take a look at her in the Saratoga Oaks last year, where she did overcome a ridiculously slow pace. I never understood why Mike Smith took her back as far as he did. Now, she did save ground in here and got a good trip after that, but they were crawling up front. Listen, we haven't seen her have a chance, really, as a 3-year-old. But she's going to have to take some step forward to be able to beat horses like this.
Absolutely.
But you have to respect Charlie Appleby's horses. You know, I mean, he was
no question
unlucky to lose the Belmont Derby last week. His horse ran very well to be second to McCulloch in the Oaks. They come here and they run.
I think you also can wonder about her. Maybe she needs a little bit more ground. I don't think the mile and 1/8's a detriment, but maybe she's a little bit better at a mile and a quarter.
Okay, don't see any evidence of that, but okay. We'll move on to race 9. That's the Grade 1 Diana. Race number 9.
Is this a borderline single?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I mean, everything depends on how much you're going to invest. And first of all, I don't believe in singling. I believe in multiple tickets and, you know, having backups. I think he's the biggest lean in this race, and that's
I was shocked by the one person who asked me who my single was today. I will not say their name on the air.
Good.
I was stunned.
I'm stunned that you were stunned. I don't know who it was. We'll take a look at Fort Tigondero's last time. He beat a horse in Growth Capital, actually ran well, but his horse is now 3 times started, 3 times second at short prices for Chad Brown. And he got a perfect trip in here. But he ran. Feel free to turn that down. Feel free to turn that down while we're sitting up here in the set.
Yeah, this horse was really, really good last time out. First time out on the dirt last year, and then this horse came back and was ready to roll. An 87 fig, Andy. Big effort off the break. I know Growth Capital is now 3 seconds in a row to start his career. I get it. But it wasn't like he got – this horse ran.
No, he did.
to beat him last time.
I'm not. You're getting no argument from me.
He ran.
He looks like he's a potential stakes horse. There's no argument
And
against
that's
it.
why I say
With small tickets, people will be leaning heavily on this horse. I'm not going to argue against that. But it's still a 12-horse field at
Right.
Saratoga, and a lot can go wrong. And there are horses in here that have a right to be okay. But I didn't pick against him.
Yeah, I didn't pick against him either. I used Daunt,
I've had enough of
blinkers,
Daunt, even though he's good enough.
Lasix, dropping out of the stakes race. Ran against Napoleonic War, 2 back. I know he didn't come back to run too well in the Belmont Derby, but I think he still
Your
might
Belmont
be
Derby
okay.
pick?
I'm sorry?
Your Belmont Derby
My
pick?
Belmont Derby pick,
It was only slightly worse than my opinion on Classic Causeway.
Wait, I think your opinion on Classic Causeway was worse.
Well, he was lucky to win, but it was terrible.
In
There's
any
no
event,
doubt about it. He
you
may
know-
be too good for these. Listen, I hunted a pick against him, and I think there are interesting other horses in here. One of them is Analogy, and I don't like Credit Event. I've had enough. He
Okay.
should have won last time.
He should have
was
won last
outside
time.
the best part of it. I don't know what happened to Analogy, but it's another one of these things where he just got completely sort of steadied out. Now, to be fair, it wasn't bad to be back in these races, and the race was won from behind. Having said that, he stayed towards the inside for a lot of the running of the race, and it was not the best place to be at that time on the inner at Belmont Park. And I got to tell you something, because this guy, and he's down on the inside right now. He'll get off a little bit in the stretch, but he's not able to get out in the clear. He was running at the end.
Balthus, the horse he beat in his maiden race, is 2 for 2 now. Yeah, and you know what? In a race like this, where I do think Fort Washington will take a ton of money, I don't think it'll be 2 to 1. I think it'll be closer to even money than 2 to 1.
Tough to be that price in a 12-horse field here
That
at Saratoga.
figure sticks out like a
Chad's
sore
in
thumb.
here.
Well, we'll see. In any event, I think this horse will be close to that 10 to 1. You're going to get a price on this horse, though.
I think this horse is interesting. Well, he's 8 to, what is he?
10 to 1. Yeah.
I think he's actually very interesting. I think the other horse in here that's interesting is Constitutional Lawyer. Number 1, he's speed. Now, he's got to probably deal with Summer Anthem, who I didn't think was totally impossible either. He's one who ran that goofy course at Churchill. I don't
Rail
love
horse.
his maiden win.
Forever Super has a little speed, too, right, from the rail?
Not to run with these, but I suppose anything's possible. Constitutional Lawyer is pretty quick. Constitutional Lawyer is not a bad horse, and he's got turf pedigree. Now, Ray Handel's numbers first time in the turf are as bad as he is a person, which, as we all know, we love Ray. We
My
like to
arch
make fun
nemesis.
of Ray. He's a friend of the show and a good guy.
He is.
I think this is an
He
interesting
still owes
horse.
us dinner, by the way.
He's owed us dinner for like 3 years.
I know.
I just want the cash. I don't want the dinner. I want the cash.
The way things are going, I'll take the cash, too.
Ray, he needs the cash. I'm going to use him a little bit because I'll say one thing also about him. He's a total wild card here.
Wild card.
And
Yes.
he may stink and he may not be able to run. But this guy has turf pedigree, and I think it's a little interesting. There's a lot of turf in the second dam. Have we left anybody? Oh, I want to talk about Credit Event. He's going to beat me. I don't want any part of him. I want other horse in here. He's had his chances. I know he had a terrible trip 2 back, and you can throw that race out. He should have won last time out, and I think Analogy ran much better than he did last time.
Blinker's coming off, too. Chad put him right on. Now he took him right off.
I think there's frustration with this horse.
Maybe.
And this is not a I've never had a conversation about this horse with Chad. I don't want this horse. Race number 10, the Sanford. I think the Sanford came up a sensational race, and you and I have a very strong disagreement in this race. I think the 2 horses are going to be favored are in for a rude awakening.
Really?
I prefer Forte or Fort or Forte, however you want to pronounce it. My dad always said it was Fort. I think this is a much stronger field than they're going to be ready for. Now, I thought Fort was very impressive last time out winning. He ran a big number. He was very professional first time out. And I have no argument against him. I do believe he's the worst to beat. But, Anthony, he beat a 5-horse field. He's got some real dogs to run against today. I think this field is a lot tougher than you do.
You do.
Yeah.
I know you do. Because I don't think it's that tough of a field.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
We're going to find out at 6:13.
Yes, we are.
I think those 2, I think Forte and Andiamo a Firenze, based on their first races, the rest of this field has a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
Can they do it? They can absolutely do it. Well, that's the beauty of the game.
I get it, but these are horses that were in softer spots with good trips. And as we show on Andiamo a Firenze, this horse rode a very good rail in that race. And I'm not sure how strong that race was. I mean, I don't care. It was a wet track. Doesn't matter to me. Speightstown's love a wet track, but so what? This was a horse that they had a lot of high hopes for. He was bet off the board, but I think he's in for I think this guy is in very tough today. And of the two, I far prefer Fort.
The Rad stays with Fort. Jose Ortiz is going to climb aboard on the Alforense.
Well, Irad's going to stay with Mike Rapoli and Vinny Viola. He's got to stay with Todd and those guys. I also agree with him, but I think he's got to stay with those guys.
I don't disagree. Yeah, to me, it was those two. Maybe a little Valenzuela Day. I don't know what happened to him last time.
Okay.
What happened last time?
Well, what happened was that Joel took him out of a speed duel, and he dropped him back. I thought he ran fine. Yeah. I don't think he's impossible in here, but I think there's a lot going on in this race that you don't. And I'm going to start out. I don't like Curly Jack. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he wins for Tom Amos in here. I will say it was not a big speed track he was on at Churchill, and we saw a lot of them. So I don't think he was helped by the track. I thought he ran very impressively. I just want to see if he can do it again, and he's facing tougher horses. And the other thing is, I'm not going for short prices in this race when I'm going against the favorites. I'm going to go for horses that are much, much bigger prices.
Yeah, I mean, this horse ran fine. Like we said yesterday, one of maybe 4 juvenile winners for Tom down at Churchill Downs for the spring-summer meet. Don't seem to be... We'll see how fast he is, if he can keep up with a horse like Andiamo Alforense. The horse...
It's hard to know who's going to be the speeds
fast
in here.
Yeah.
You know, second-time stars is unclear. And obviously, Andiamo Alforense has a lot of speed. I won't argue it. But that was a muddy track first race, and there's a lot of horses near that could have speed. I like Great Navigator in this race. I don't like that they are using the name of a former good horse.
Was he the horse that paid the... No, never mind. That's somebody else.
This horse absolutely blew this field away at Monmouth Park at a big price.
Yeah.
The horse who was third came back to win and improved the Beyer figure 5 points. This race has a very good look of being a very live race. This horse is going to take 0 money because of the connections in a race like this at Saratoga. And I'm going to tell you something. This horse can run. I'm going to make a prediction. He will be the best Sea Wizard of all time. Who was Sea Wizard?
I have no idea.
You've never heard of him. If you've never heard of a horse, that's amazing.
Never heard of him.
Sea Wizard.
When I was looking through that, I racked my brain. I got nothing for you.
I got to look up him. This horse can run. Now listen, he's in against the big horses too, but he's going to be a big price. So I don't really care. I think Most Strike for Brad Cox. I think he's very, very dangerous in this race. Brad has tremendous. How about 2-year-old maidens off maiden wins in dirt sprints? 14 for 43, 265 ROI. With second-time stars, he's 8 for 22, 36%, 365. The speed finished 9th, came back and improved. The other speed, 24 points at Ellis. Other horses have come out of that race to run well. Todd finished second. I think Most Strike could be very, very good. I think he's incredibly dangerous in here. You have him nowhere.
Major Dude was the horse. Major Dude, I got like 3 phone calls after Major Dude won on Father's Day. Hey, Todd just unleashed a Gorilla Bolt Doro down at Monmouth. And I remember watching the race and saying to myself, the race went a little slow to be calling this horse a Gorilla, but he did things right. He waited. You know, he sat behind horses, made his move between horses. All right. So it's okay. Then I saw the Fig. And the Fig is just horrifically small. I mean, a 59.
It was a bad race he comes out of. But to be fair, we've seen Todd come up in these 2-year-old stakes with horses that ran at Monmouth, ran lousy figs, and they've improved. So, yeah, I'm always wary of these horses because we've seen a few over the years. Sea Wizard ran second to Destin in his debut. And the horse I bet on my birthday in the Belmont, I lost by a nose, and he only ran twice. I got this information from Dave Aragona. We got, let's see. Sierra was also owned by the people who have Great Navigator. I believe he won at Gulfstream, according to Steve, in his second start and never ran again. Thanks, guys. I get good info here. Also, I want to mention another horse, a horse that I have fourth that's going to be a gigantic price, and that's Put the Blame on Me for Jeremiah.
Problem.
This horse, he barely rode this horse first time out. I mean, I understand it's 46 Beyer, and I'm not getting carried away. I didn't even try on this horse, and he went off by a pole.
So you rode him first time out?
Yeah, right. Right, exactly. Now, he's going to ride Andiamo Alforense over him, but I think this is a wild running of the Sanford, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm looking forward to this race a great deal. I think there's some very interesting. And listen, the horses you picked 1, 2 aren't bad horses. They're good horses, but I just think this race is a lot more interesting than you do. And finally, we'll wrap it up with the 11th today, where Diva Ready is going to be a super short. Can we skip the replay I put up for this race? I don't want to see those horses. I don't want to see Kemba again. Obviously, the 4, Diva Ready, is the horse to beat. She looks like the speed. She's a new face in a race where we're so sick and tired of everybody we can't believe. Oh, wait, you know what? We can show the replay because Anthony has Noble Enterprise second on top. Why do you like Noble Enterprise? We can show it. Sorry.
I figured Diva Ready is going to be a very short price today. I thought Noble Enterprise's last 2 races, one of my favorites, Federalist Papers, beat her 2 starts back. I thought she ran well cutting back
good
last
call
time.
with her. In the next
Thanks.
She was with the racetrack.
I don't know. She didn't have the best trip last time. She never saw anything close to the iron. Maybe she'll get a little.
This was the dead rail period, though, at Belmont. This was the dead rail period on the inner turf at Belmont, so being wide was good. And didn't Kemba have a significantly tougher trip than she did? I mean, Kemba was steadied out.
Kemba can't see the lead, and I know she ran well enough last time without the lead, but.
Okay. All right. I don't like that race.
Okay.
I'm going to take other horses, except for Clara Bell. I'm going to take her because she was on the rail, and she was a new face last time. You might have even picked her in that race last time out. Actually, I think you thought she had a shot.
I did.
And she was on the rail, so I'm going to take horses at big prices off the rail. I think Diva Ready's probably going to win this race, but my other use is Clara Bell. And let me ask you a question: you don't have Freedom Machine in there at all? Hasn't she been running against significantly better horses? I know she's won for 19, but I mean, look who she's been running against, though. Even Gabby Squarey finished second to her.
She didn't do much running so far in her 2 races this year, but she has run against much better. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was a significant drop down for our friend Rick Schosberg. All right. The first of 8 Saturdays with a big pick 6 carryover. We're happy you're here. It's been a wonderful first 2 days. It's just so nice to be here and so many people that are happy to be here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just really.
Great to make some new friends and see a lot of old familiar faces.
Saratoga
it's been a lot of fun so far.
It's like coming back to a party every year. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Listen to Joel. This is as serious as it gets. He's telling you, listen, go to Naira Bets. Frank Lyons walking by, one of the great legends of the game. Imagine how well Julian Leperoux would do if he had a different jockey agent, right, Frank? Anyway, it's good to see him. Congrats on the big win last week. Toga 200.
Yes.
We will match for $200 of your initial deposit. Head over to NairaBets.com. $532,907 awaits in a pick 6 carryover, a pick 6 pool that figures, including the carryover, to be over $3 million today. A little more excitement into what already is a terrific opening Saturday here at Saratoga. We've got 10 times points. We may or may not have to opt in. They're Monmouth and Delaware Park. We have a cross-country pick 5 as well. Anthony has a ticket up at NairaBets.com. When you go there, if you're not a member, sign up as well. Belmont, you got Aqueduct of Stakes here. You got the 9th here as well. You got a stake at Monmouth, and you got 9th race at Ellis. And finally, last but not least, we'll take a break from 7 to 8, but we'll be on from 1 to 11 for all the rest of it. Anthony will be on the late show. I will be at dinner. We don't know where you'll be, but don't miss Little Canterbury and the Meadowlands Pace. With
They're
the big
often
egg.
pacing.
You wearing your driver's outfit?
No, I left the driver's
I'm sorry,
outfit.
excuse me, your doctor's outfit.
It's the doctor. Yes, the local harness racing guru outfit. No, it's too big, Andy. Happy to say it's just too big now.
That's good. You're looking sharp today.
Yes.
All right.
You.
That's it
You
for
as
Talking
well.
Horses. Johnny I up next to reprise the scratch and changes. We don't need to remind you, but we will anyway. Have a great day here at Saratoga.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Saratoga. Mostly cloudy skies on this Saturday. Temperature in the 80s. The main track is fast. The turf course is firm. Portable rail up on the melon turf at 12 feet and on the inner turf at 9 feet. We have a 2-day pick six carryover of $532,907. And there are no changes to report in races 1 or 2. In the third race today, scratch the 13, Can't Fool Me. Scratch number 13, Can't Fool Me. The fourth race will start a mandatory payout pick 5. Scratch number 6, Carl Cares. Scratch the 6 out of race 4. The fifth race begins an additional pick 4. Scratch 1A, Dangerous Edge. 12, Boss Making Boss Moves, and 13, Great Workout. Scratch 1A, 12, and 13. And number 4, Little Maddie Brown, runs with 1 bar shoe again. A bar shoe again on the 4.